National University of Education, the National Mathematical Center, Association of Mathematical Sciences and Optimization, AMSO. It is also supported by InfoWare, International Center for Applied Mathematical Modeling and Data Analysis, ICAMMDA, and the Mountain of Fire and Miracle Ministries. This set of Before I begin to go to the main body of the program, please permit me to give you a Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He said, mathematics may not teach you how to add happiness or minus sadness, but it teaches one important thing. Every problem has a solution. We should not give up. I would have loved to give a problem question, if you permit me. And the problem question is that, does mathematics also seek to find the algebra of lager beer pot-bellied men and or soda or water drinking men with stone hard bellies? Should we see them as a problem or a social status? Thank you. Having arrived at this point, we're on item 5 on the program, and it will be the welcome address of Professor J.O. Olalero, President, Association of Mathematical Sciences and Optimization. But he has one title that I will need to expose to you. He is a gold medalist or golden professor and ophthalmologist, no, golden medalist, Wole Soyinka Prize from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. You are welcome, sir. Your welcome address, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me just correct that. The gold medalist was given by the University of Lagos, just like they give Professor Emeritus and all of that things, as an award for distinction in service. The only person who had that award in the University of Lagos since we started in 1962 was Professor Chike Obi. So it took about many years before I have the privilege of being awarded. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Oluwole Sikiru Banjo, the guest of honor and Honorable Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Aribabu, is on the way, they assured me. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Taisho Lani University, the University Registrar, the Bossa, the Liberian, the Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer, National Mathematical Society, Professor Promise Mebina. He spent some days with us before he traveled back to his base for another assignment. But the Deputy Executive Director, National Mathematical Center, Professor Yilam, is here with us. Professor A.R.T. Sharin, that's a University Council member and former Executive Director of the National Mathematical Center. Keynote speaker, Professor Abdon Atangana, #1 mathematician according to Stanford rating. The Dean co-seat, Professor Oluwatoye Adejoye, Professor Abulime, Dean of Natural Sciences, Ambrose Ali University, acting HOD of Mathematics Department, Dr. A.C. Loyemi. The workshop lecturers, there are many. For the past 3 days, we have been having workshops in locations. The workshop for pure mathematicians, workshop for statisticians and those who are applying statistics, and workshop for applied mathematics. And a good number of our experts were around. Professor Yaya from Unilorin, Professor Adebayo from NAFDAC, Professor Chris Tron. Chris Tron will give us his lecture immediately after this. He's our friend. He always comes physically to our meeting, but he couldn't make it this time. But next year, he promised to be around. Mujahid Abbas also gave us a series of lectures. So far as I know, is the best fixed point theorist in the world at present. He graced our occasion and he delivered his lecture. Professor Bakari is welcome here. You will see his children here. Can you clap for Professor Bakari for me? Thank you. Actually, we have about 140 participants, and he brought about 33 of them to be here to learn. Then we also have Professor Degla, Professor Arulu, and some others. Then professors and all conference speakers, conference participants, members of the university community, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. The Association of Mathematical Sciences are not short of MANOC, which is Mathematical Analysis and Optimization. It was conceived about 10 years ago as a conglomerate of researchers and end users of research work in mathematical sciences. It is meant to address the weakness of various classical disciplinary associations because of the reality that most often the application of mathematics in addressing our national and global challenges are found in interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research. In order to consummate the natural marriage between the town and the gown, and in this case, between mathematical scientific research and industry, there is need for sufficient and useful courtship between and among various researchers in mathematical sciences in order to have a good understanding of each other. This is being addressed through our annual 3-day conference empowerment workshop. This has over the years attracted globally recognized experts in mathematical sciences to our conferences. This has been yielding fruit as we could observe from the interdisciplinary research and publications of members. Interdisciplinary research and collaboration is the key to addressing myriads of challenges in Africa. A handshake between the town and the gown is a must in order to make our researches more application-centered as against the classical abstract researches without societal relevance, either in the long run or short run. This is not to suggest that abstract mathematical researches are irrelevant. They are needful process of industrialization. Most of the technological breakthrough of today are based on abstract mathematical results of several years ago, when such researchers were not even thinking of applications. An example is Einstein's theory of relativity, which opened up the world to industrialization after 50 years of coming up with that theory. At the time I came up with that theory, it didn't appeal so much to applications. But after 50 years, it opened the door for industrial revolution. This leads me to the theme of this year's conference, applying mathematical research for the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is the current and developing environment in which disruptive technologies and trends such as Internet of Things, robotic, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence are changing the way modern people live and work. Proficiency in linear algebra, calculus, probability theory, statistics, machine learning algorithm, discrete mathematics are needed in this artificial intelligence and or what we call the fourth industrial revolution. In fact, every leap in industrial revolution is just a new discovery of mathematics applications in technology. So industrial revolutions can be adequately described as mathematics application discoveries. In civilized nations, national challenges are attacked through scientific researches in the laboratory, whether mental laboratory or physical laboratory. In most cases, computational mathematics played a prominent role. National policies should be based on scientific analysis of data and projections. The bane of underdeveloped world is the setting aside of mathematical sciences in different strata of the society, including economy, education, medical, and military areas. The mountainous challenges of banditry, kidnapping, bad governance, economic downturn can be mathematically modeled and addressed. For instance, the federal government just made a law that the minimum age to sit for WAEC or school certificate exam should be 18. I could not see any scientific data analysis to justify this mysterious decision. I cannot see how apparently retrogressive law will better the fortune of the unborn generation compared to the civilized world where children are allowed to grow and glow at their own pace. In civilized world, you can even become a professor at 25 on merit. I could not see how to occupy the brilliant, energetic youths who might have finished their secondary school at 16 and ask them to wait for 2 years before they could sit for their exams. Many of them will end up having more than one date of birth. This is how we come out with thoughtless policies that make us to be where we are today in Africa, and Japan is now the syndrome. Finally, I want to thank and appreciate the Vice Chancellor of this university for hosting this conference. In our previous conferences, we assume the provision of energy as a non-issue. So we don't discuss it. It's not part of the axioms for successful conference because we didn't take it as an issue. But now that our universities have been thrown into darkness, it is no more assumed. We have to discuss it for any conference we are to have. For example, University of Lagos paid 180 million naira to EKDC, that's the distribution company, for July consumption. And that's what we have been paying every month. But now the university is disconnected just yesterday or just this week from power distribution just this month. It was upgraded to band A without the consent of the university. And we must cover out 40 million naira every month before we can be connected back, which is practically impossible. So this is part of the rash and unscientific policies we pursue in the nation in an attempt to solve 40-year-old problems confronting the nation overnight, regardless of mathematical insight on the implications to the citizens. The university system has been bogged down with academic rigors without thinking outside the box on how to handle its challenges. We always carry our beggarly plates to the government before the university can meet any challenge. If you look at the Redemption Camp, Covenant University there, even our federal university in one of our federal universities in the north, they have devised a way of generating electricity without being the national grid. And even abroad, there are farms that have their own national, they have their own generation of electricity. Even Dangote there, in Dangote alone, they are generating about 10 watts of power. In Nigeria, the maximum so far is 5. So what it takes up about 40, 50 years to generate, Dangote is already generating double of it. So you will see that the problem we are having in the nation is because our leaders don't take the pain to think outside the box. And that's where we are now. I do not see any reason why our universities, viable universities, should not take the challenge of generating electricity on their own. It's just a matter of vision. It's just a matter of decision. Our alumni, they are there. We can bring them into the picture and they will be interested to do something. So our universities should learn to think outside the box and not to just rely on the government for what we need. Getting energy to you is basic, but I could see the problem the VC here was having, that they have to be buying crude, buying diesel upon diesel to power this kind of meeting. If we cannot get light for work in the academic sector, then there's nothing we can do in the sector again. You want to do research, you need light. You want to conduct contacts your colleagues and have meetings with them abroad, you need research. You need light to read. And when there is no light, then what are we doing in the universities? So it's time for the universities to just wake up. So the university is supposed to be creative and provide solutions to some of these challenges. Where I am going is to appreciate the VC for providing the energy we needed for this conference, among other support. Thank you, Mr. VC. God bless you. The encouragement and support from the Honorable Commissioner, who is also an astute administrator, an eminent professor of mathematics education, is excellent. I don't know of any commissioner of education in Nigeria who has fully computerized the data of all the students in the states, including all the facilities in their schools. You can just get online if you are given access. Every school in Ogun State, you have the data. You have the number of chairs that are there. You have the number of tables that are there. You have the number of things that are remaining there. Even as a student, you can just press a button and get all your results. What some of our universities are not even able to do, unfortunately, now, and shamefully too. So you can, student can go, secondary school student, get all his results, and he doesn't have any problem. So this is the kind of honorable commissioner of education we have. And I want to say that it takes a mathematics to achieve that feat. At this juncture, we appreciate all our donors. The end users of our university products need to do more in terms of financial support so as to increase the quality of our products. Abroad, different companies, different organizations assist the universities to develop their university. But in Nigeria, we have not inculcated, in Africa generally, that culture. There was, for example, the MD of one powerful, one of the first 10 industrial, one of the first 10 insurance companies in Nigeria. The MD is earning millions every month. The MD grew under us, was our boy. We appeal for sponsorship. We put their logo there. And when we appeal for sponsorship, we even went there. At the end of the day, we couldn't see him, but he sent 250,000 naira to us. And I phoned him. I said, what do you want me to do with 250,000 naira? I wanted to return it to him. He's one of us that said, no, just appreciate him. How do you want to do this kind of conference? And you are a company, you are having millions and billions of turnover, and we request for help. Not for our salary, not for our pocket, but to make sure that the products we release to the town are those products we can be proud of, which will be useful to you too. And you are giving 250,000 naira. We need to change our attitude generally if we want us to move forward in this country. Professor Shularin, our mentor, is well recognized and appreciated. Our workshop professors have done a great job And I'm sure the participants will continue to hold them in high esteem and unfading memory. The LOC, under the able leadership of the HOD, Dr. Loyimi, are hereby recommended for the university and national award for the great job done. The National Organizing Committee are always working hard and they are never tired. Your reward is sure. Let me also specially appreciate Professor Atangana for coming here. We met some years ago, should be 2010, in USA for a mathematics conference. I didn't know that he will eventually become #1. So through that, we connected, and in the past few years, we have been doing many things together. Well, the flight ticket was paid by him. He came with 5 people. The university paid the flight ticket and everything. The hotel, we are not paying any money. When I got to the hotel, because he booked for himself, I asked the hotelier man that place you put Professor Atangana, how much did you ask him to? He said 100,000 naira per month. I said, okay. Where I'm saying is 15,000 naira per month. And I have to struggle before I pay it. And I do pay it from my own pocket, not even from the university. You now see why there is difference. And our people jump to South Africa in order to get to do their PhD program. The government is not doing enough. So, Professor Atangana, I want to appreciate you. Thank you for being here. The baton of this association will be handed over to whosoever the car fits in this program, even though our support and backings will remain unwavering. To all participants, I wish you at the top as you keep working hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor J.O. Olaleru, gold medal professor of the University of Lagos and President Association of Mathematical Sciences and Optimization. You just reminded me of factorization in mathematics. You're welcome, sir. So, I used to be scared of mathematics, and you have just simplified it that it is not all in figures and in formulae. It is my honor to invite the Vice Chancellor, Tai Solarin University of Education, Professor Oluwole Sikiru Banjo, to give his opening address and to declare this ceremony open.
Please, let's get seated. Well, thank you, the MC, for inviting me. Before my speech, I think I have to thank the organizers of this program, and at the same time, thank and appreciate Professor Olaleru for appreciating and thanking me. Well, I love that because I want to believe you are appreciating me not as the Vice Chancellor, but as a member of your association. And I believe before the end of today's program, I'll be conferred an award. Yes. And I believe I want that to determine the award. Yes, I want D.F. Man. Yes, meaning Distinguished Fellow or Friend of Mathematical Association of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Yes. the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Ogun State, ably represented before he comes, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of this great university, Professor Adewale Adeogun, the Registrar of the University, Mr. Dapoke, the Bursar, Mr. Kabiru Ogunleye, the Acting Librarian, Mr. Omotayo Kodri, our member of council, who happens also to be my teacher right there when I was in the university, Professor Roland Adewale Shulari. He was the former director of National Mathematical Center, Abuja. We welcome you. The keynote speaker, Professor Abdan Atangana, we welcome you. Professor J.O. Olalero, I think I've recognized you before. Professor M. Ebine, who is now the Executive Director, the National Mathematical Center, Abuja. I want to use Professor Odi Adejoye as a point of contact to all the deans that are present here. The HOD also to be used as the point of contact for all HODs here present. Dr. H. Akewe, the Chairman NOC. Our participants, students of Taishuda University of Education, members of staff, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to welcome you to Taishuda University of Education, TASUET, as we convene for the International Conference on Applied Mathematical Research for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It is an honor for our institution to host this prestigious event, which brings together some of the brightest minds from around the world to share knowledge, expertise, and innovative ideas.
challenges in the fourth industrial revolution. There are key areas of trending mathematical research in the fourth industrial revolution. These include, among others, machine learning and artificial intelligence, AI, data science and analytics, cyber physical system, blockchain and cryptography, network science, optimization and control, quantum computing, biological and medical modeling, etc. The mathematical techniques used is for all these are differential equations, graph theory, probability and statistics, algebra, geometry, numerical analysis, etc. There are vast and diverse applications of mathematical research in the fourth industrial revolution, which include smart manufacturing, healthcare, energy and environment, transportation, and financial service, etc. Among these vast and diverse applications, we equally have lots of challenges and at the same time opportunities. Some of these include interdisciplinary collaboration, data quality and availability, and explainability and transparency, cybersecurity, education and training, etc. Our beloved country is presently at a crossroads economically. The challenges are deeper than we think because we are only aware of the extent of the information made available to us. But we feel that effects and bear the brunt of the bad economy occasioned by mismanagement and constant borrowing, whose impact is not felt, whose impact is felt, and we bear the brunt of bad economy occasioned by mismanagement and constant borrowing, whose impact is not felt by the mismanagers and the borrowers. National Mathematical Center. On the part of the National Mathematical Center, Abuja, we are highly committed to strengthening and fulfilling our mandate, training, developing high-level personnel in mathematical sciences, a resource center of excellence serving both national and international communities as a focal point for advanced research and training in mathematical sciences and applications. Our foundation postgraduate course and research-oriented courses are handled by invited local and international scholars and experts. We conduct specialized postgraduate courses in mathematical sciences in line with current trends, despite the dwindling budgetary provisions of the center. We continue to identify and encourage young talents in mathematical sciences via national and international Olympiad, among many others. Concluding report. By drawing on these reference points, mathematical research can contribute to the development of innovation solutions, technologies in the fourth industrial revolution with evidence-based proof for informed decision to better our country. Therefore, this year conference is a national assignment for us to use mathematical research with the imperative of mathematical tools to serve as a building blocks and a roadmap to the fourth industrial revolution. Once again, I want to sincerely thank you all for your time. God bless you all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Professor Promise Mebine, Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer, National Mathematical Center. It is my singular honor and privilege to mention your name once again from the University of Free State, South Africa, the #1 mathematician of the world, in the person of Professor Abdon Atangana, the keynote speaker. You are please invited, sir. Before we get to the keynote speaker's address, we will have a citation read to us by Ms. Asteria. This is, okay, you forgive my tongue. You're welcome. We'll be listening to the profile of Professor Abdon Atangana, which will be read to us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I humbly stand on the protocols already observed. Good morning, everyone. My name is Asteria Mwetulundila. I'm from Namibia, and I'm a PhD student of Professor Abdon Atangana. I feel very humbled and honored to be entrusted with this heavy load privilege to introduce our keynote speaker for this conference today. Abdon Atangana was born in Cameroon in 1985. Prof. Dr. Abdon Atangana is academic head of department and professor of applied mathematics at the University of the Free State, Bloemfontein, the Republic of South Africa. He obtained his honors and master's degrees from the Department of Applied Mathematics at the University of the Free State with distinction. He obtained his PhD in applied mathematics from the Institute for Groundwater Studies. He was included in the 2019 Marks 2020 Crossfield and the 2021 Maths Clarivate Web of Science lists of the world's top 1% scientists, recognizing the true pioneers in their fields over the last decade, demonstrated by the production of multiple highly cited papers that rank in the top 1% by citations for field and year in the Web of Science. Of the world's scientists and social scientists, highly cited researchers truly are 1 in 1,000. And he was awarded the World Academy of Sciences twice, inaugural Mohammed A. Hamdan Award for contributions to science in developing countries. The award is named after the late Vice President of the Arab region, who passed away earlier this year. May his soul rest in peace. It's given for outstanding mathematical work carried out by a scientist working and living in Africa or the Arab region. The award can be given for work in pure mathematics, applied mathematics, probability, or statistics. In 2018, Prof. Dr. Atangana was elected as a member of the African Academy of Sciences, and in 2021, a member of the World Academy of Sciences. This makes him the first researcher in the world to be selected under the age of 40. He also ranked #1 in the world in mathematics number 186 in the world in all fields, and number 1 in Africa in all fields, according to the Stanford University list of the top 2% scientists in the world. He was one of the first recipients of the Obada Award in 2018. Prof. Dr. Atangana published a paper that was ranked by Clarivate in 2017 as the most cited mathematics paper in the world. Prof. Dr. Atangana serves as an editor for 30 international journals, lead guest editor for 10 journals, and is also a reviewer of more than 450 international accredited journals. He is an author of 14 books published in Springer, Elsevier, and Taylor Francis. He has a total number of citations of 28,500. And with an age index of 81 since 2013. He is the founder of the fractional calculus with non-singular kernel that is used in many fields of science, technology, and engineering. He is the founder of the fractal fractional differential in integral calculus. He is the founder of the piecewise differential and integral calculus concept used to model processes with crossover behaviors. His research interests include methods and applications of partial and ordinary differential equations, fractional differential equations, perturbation methods, asymptotic methods, iterative methods, and groundwater modeling. Prof. Dr. Atangana is a pioneer in research on fractional calculus with non-local and non-singular kernels popular in applied mathematics today. He is the author of numerous books, including Integral Transforms and Engineering, Theory, Methods, and Applications, published by Taylor and Francis, Numerical Methods for Fractal Fractional Differential Equations and Engineering, Simulation and Modeling, also published by Taylor and Francis, Numerical Methods for Fractional Differentiations, published by Springer, Fractional Stochastic Differential Equations, published by Springer, and then Fractional Order Analysis by Whaley, Applications of Fractional Calculus to Modeling in Dynamics and Chaos by Taylor and Francis, Fractional Operators with Constant and Variable Orders with Applications to Geohydrology, published in Elsevier, and then Derivative with a New Parameter, Theory, Methods, and Applications by Elsevier, and the New Numerical Scheme with Newton Polynomial Theory, Methods, and Applications, also published by Elsevier. He is the chairman of the African Mathematical Union Commission of Research and Innovation. And to conclude this, this introduction, heavy introduction, Prof. Atangana has graduated since 2015, 14 PhD and 25 masters. And 7 postdocs across the globe. And he is the founder of the African Institution of Applied and Industrial Mathematics. Ladies and gentlemen, let us stand up on our feet and joyfully welcome our keynote Africa, #1 in the world, Prof. Abdon Atangana.
Thank you very much for the citation. The most important thing, as I used to say, is not all those things that they have said. What is important to me is that I am the son of God and I'm a proud African person. Chancellor Professor Olelaru, I'm very grateful for you to invite me here. And you know my heart about Africa. You know that even if it is in the farthest place, I will come. Because, Chancellor, it is time for the young generation to end the Africa of Papa. The Africa of Papa, that thing that we have to wait for things to come from heaven or from the West for us to solve problems in our community. That Africa should end by us, the young generation. I'm very glad because although Professor Olelaru was speaking about finance and everything, the will that you have, Professor Olelaru, God is with you. To say, before you leave the earth, you will make impact in our continent. And that is what you are doing. And I ask God to give you more courage. Because the most important thing is not to be a senior person or you are member of whatever. What are you going to leave when you die? That is what is important to me. And from now, I know you are going to leave a very big legacy in Nigeria. May God bless you more. Before I start my presentation, I would like to recall us a small story. Africa was a temple of knowledge before. Pythagoras, Euclid, Thales, they came to our continent to learn mathematics. They came in number to learn mathematics in our continent. But today, it is the contrary. We are leaving our continent to go to the West because we believe that when you go to the West, you become a better person, which is not correct, it's wrong. And the question is, what happened such that today, the Africa that was the temple of knowledge before is being called shithole country by an American. It's being called a country where people produce kids by a French that the wife is older than him. When the European people came in Africa, they noticed that our continent was loaded with knowledge. And in fact, they never see somebody who begged in our continent. Nobody was stealing in our continent. We had a very well structure of education that was shaking the world. And they say, except we tell them that English is better and our way of education is better, we will not be able to conquer them. Because I went from the north to the south, west, and I did not see any single person begging. In fact, when you recall the history, you realize that Jesus came in our continent for exile. Moses came here for exile. It means that Africa was a continent where everything was there. And when they came here, they taught us English. And now how to communicate in English. I'm a tone. I was supposed to be speaking to you in an African language. And they say, if we teach them English and our method, they will lose their self-esteem and they will become a cruelly dominated nation. That's why today we are dominated, because we lost our self-esteem. And we strongly believe that whatever come from the West, whether it's bad or not, it is good. But that was not the Africa that we had before. But there is a time for everything. There is a time for an eagle that grew up with chicken to do as chicken. But one day he recognized that, no, I am not that. I am an eagle, then he will fly. So young people, it is time for us to recognize that we are not a slave of the West. That we are truly king and queen. That is why they came in our continent looking for knowledge and a refuge. So now I will go directly to mathematics, and I will continue begging you, Professor Olelaru, our senior one, to make sure that we should stop being slaves of the West. Make sure, use all your energy. As you are so strong, use your energy, do everything in your power. From Africa, arrive China, they should not remove him from the plane. Make sure that when a young African guy arrives in the United States, they should not put him in a corner saying that we don't believe in you because you are here either to steal our job or to sell drugs. Let us make sure to stop that. Give value to our own people. So, what brought me here? It is mathematics. We are going to discuss 30 minutes about mathematics. As I presented before, I used to start by saying that God created our nature. When God created the nature, he gave us the assignment to control our nature. And that can only happen if we observe, we analyze, and then we build a mathematical formula. We solve that mathematical formula. We compare it with experimental data. After the comparison with experimental data, we will be able to go to prediction. When we have prediction, we predict what is going to happen in the future. For example, today, if we could predict that maybe at some point we are not going to have electricity, what will supposed to be happening is that we will put fuel aside, making sure that when that electricity is gone, we have a reserve. So the prediction, and we use concept in mathematics that we call differentiation to build differentiation that can be used to model real world problems. So that is what I'm going to discuss today. I will go far because we have already presented some important information regarding fractional calculus, special functions, and I will go directly to the section of fractional calculus. What is important for me here is the idea behind the fractional calculus. Let us stop here. We have what they call first derivative. We have second derivative. We have third derivative, fourth derivative. And the reason why I was stressing yesterday, Professor Olelaru, saying that our elder should be closer to the younger one. It means that no matter the level where you are, you should know that you are there to make sure that the younger one are giving power, are giving knowledge, so that when you will not be there, they will replace you. So what happened is that Leibniz was the senior man in terms of calculus, and a student, asked a question to Leibniz: what will happen if you replace the n? If you say first derivative, second derivative, the n derivative, what will happen if n is equal to 1/2? And the reason why we need a close collaboration between student and the lecturer, a student should not think that the lecturer should not make the student think that he is God. Because if that would have been the case, Leibniz will tell this young student that your question is stupid. Indeed, the question was stupid, but he said, we are going to obtain something in the future with what we did, and the question that we have asked. So, important people in this field, we have Riemann, he's here. We have Liouville is here. They are the one that came out with the concept of fractional calculus. And this concept, because of the work of this person and this, we were able to build this equation, this formula that is here. This is what they call a fractional derivative with fractional order alpha. So what is happening here is that this is the classical derivative that we know, the derivative with respect to t, but here inside here is what we call convolution. But what is important here is that if you look at this very well, you will realize that this part here is a convolution of this function and the function that we call power law. We have discussed about this before. Then the second important person is Capito. This man was not a serious mathematician, but is somebody who worked with real world problem. And now what happened is that working with this derivative that is here, he noticed that he was unable to reply or to respond to what is happening in nature. So because of the natural observation, he was able to come out with this formula. That's why they call it Capito fractional derivative. It means that for you to have a Capito fractional derivative, the function must be differentiable in the sense of differentiability. So after that, this notion have been applied in many real world problems. One, for example, Professor Bakari was speaking about epidemiology. People apply it in epidemiology. They apply it in diffusion. They apply it in image processing. I will show you some application today. And they apply it in many fields. But the question that we ask ourselves is that why is it that every problem that we have in nature, we believe that that process follow the power law process? Then Capito, again with his student, they came out with another concept called a derivative, fractional derivative with exponential kernel. And as I presented a few days ago, this has a very important application in many fields also. But the question arose at that time, and people were asking, exponential function is not a function that has memory. Is this a fractional derivative, or it is a type of operator that can be called a convolution, but it has a memory that is not fractional, but it has a type of memory? So it was 2015, during Christmas, when people was enjoying, I was thinking, and I told myself, let me do something. And I studied a specific function that they call Mittag-Leffler function. And that Mittag-Leffler function has several properties. For example, it has exponential property 1t is closer to 0. It has power law property 1t is far from 0. Then I used that operator. That was my first work that opened the door for many things in the world. And I introduced this operator. That one that is here. Instead of you having exponential function, you replace it by the Mittag-Leffler function, and the function that is here can be given by this. So I provided it in the sense of Capito. In the sense of Capito means that the derivative is inside the integral. In the sense of Riemann means that the derivative is out of the integral. And this operator was named after myself. And now we have to do, to build calculus, you must have a derivative. After having a derivative, you must build an integral. When you build the integral, you must make sure that if you apply the integral on the derivative, you have the function and vice versa. So I worked on it and I was able to come out with this formula. This formula that is here, that is what I suggested. So this is the fractional integral based on the derivative that I introduced. Okay, so as I was speaking last time, when you introduce a new concept, the first thing is you would like to see how that concept play with a specific transform. Now here, we would like to study what is the Laplace transform of this differential operator that has been introduced. The first here, we have the Riemann-Liouville. The Laplace transform of the Riemann-Liouville gives us this formula that we see here. And the Laplace transform of the Capito derivative gives us this formula that we see here. But the advantage of the second one is that this part that we see here is the initial condition with the first derivative, which is very well known. But here we have the initial condition with a fractional derivative that cannot be known. So people prefer to work with this formula. And now for the Capito Fabrizio, we calculated also the Laplace transform. After calculating the Laplace transform, we are able to obtain this Laplace transform. This is very important for signal analysis. And for the ABC, it means my derivative, we obtain the following Laplace transform. And here, some people ask question, what is the real difference between the ABC derivative and the capital derivative? And I did some work. The result of my work proved that the ABC derivative is the convolution of the capital derivative with this kernel. This kernel has some distributive property. So I show the proof. From here, you apply the Laplace transform here using the convolution theorem. Then you obtain this. And when you arrive here, you notice that this part here is the Laplace transform for capital, and here it is the Laplace transform of this function here. So I was able to prove that the ABC derivative in the capital sense is the convolution of the capital derivative and the following kernel that are presented here. And if you go in the sense of Riemann-Liouville, you can also prove it, which I did. So both of them, you can see here that the ABC can be written like capital derivative with this kernel, whereas the Riemann-Liouville of ABC can be written like the Riemann-Liouville and this this kernel. Now, what is important is it's not only the mathematics but the application. So some people did an important work to see how this derivative can be used to solve problems in nature. What are the properties of each kernel? So here they prove that the kernel given by Riemann, it is here in blue, and the kernel given by myself is here in red. And the Brownian motion, that is very well known by you, is given by the green. But if you look very closely, you will realize that there is an additional property for the ABC derivative. What is happening here is that the ABC derivative is able to capture the Brownian motion at the beginning and is able to capture the Riemann-Liouville at the end. So it has what they call crossover behavior. And that is happening in many real-world problems, as I presented, for example, the decay of the body. So they show the mean square displacement and they prove that in fact, the ABC is able to capture Brownian motion at the beginning, is able to capture also the exponential behavior at the beginning, but at the end is able to capture the Riemann-Liouville behavior. And they give a resume. The first resume is that the waiting time distribution for the ABC is the power law, but the mean square displacement is power law and scale invariant, whereas the probability distribution is non-Gaussian operator. So this is very important table that it came out from the study. And of course, from here, we can see that this operator can be used as distribution. So you can calculate several important statistical analysis, statistical formula. For example, you can calculate the density function for all of them. You can also calculate the end arrival time for all of them. You can also calculate what they call the mean for all of them. You can now, the most important thing now is if you build a differential equation based on the ABC, for example, are you able to prove that that equation has one solution, a unique solution? So there are some theories that are a little bit different from what is happening in the classical calculus that we do here. So what we will do here is that first of all, we want to build some inequality associated to those type of operator. And if you use formula like Cauchy-Schwarz inequality, you are able, with some condition on the function, if you say, for example, that this function that you see here satisfies the growth, the linear growth formula, then you will be able to obtain some inequality, like the one that you obtain here. And you can build several inequalities. For example, if you assume that the function that you are using belongs to LP. So what you do now is that you use the property of LP and you build the inequality, you will be able to obtain something like this. So there are many work that I did for this operator, I want to go straight to some application because it's what people want to see, the application. So for application, because I can see people are very bored with this mathematics, so I want to show you some application of what can be done using this operator. So assume that you have an image and you want to know the contour of that image. And what you do is now you put some noise on that image and you discretize the integral associated to ABC. When you discretize that integral, you obtain a specific kernel, and now you have to use that kernel to filter that, that noise. So these are some important formula that you have to use to filter the noise. And now here, you take this image, for example, you put some noise, it becomes a little bit blurred, and now you want to filter it, remove the noise that you put there to obtain the original image. You can use the ABC integral. From here, you put noise here. From here, you remove some noise. You remove some noise here, you obtain something that is similar like the initial one. And this image is popular on internet. And of course, whatever we have to do as African people, we have to impose ourselves. It should not only be that the publications are made by the image of somebody from Europe. So what I did in this paper, I took my own image, I put some noise, then I filter it to obtain the original, and I call this image the fractional African man. It means that whenever somebody from the West will want to use this paper, he will be obliged to use somebody from the image of somebody from Africa, especially a black person. So that was my aim. And here I will shift a bit and go a little bit in epidemiology because it's very important for us. We want to know how the spread of a given disease is going to affect our country or our continent. So the first thing that we have to do is we want to observe, we want to collect data from the government. The government will give us some data. When we have those data, we want to tell the government that in the next 2, 3, 4 years, perhaps we are going to have 2 or 3, 5 waves. So we have to prepare. So as Professor Bakari was presenting yesterday, my student asked Professor Bakari, can you tell us from the R0 if we will be able to build something or we can predict the number of waves? And that is very difficult thing that to be done by using existing mathematical concept. So the fundamental question that I asked in one of my papers was, what is the rate of infection? Can you tell me what is the rate of infection? What is the strength of the infection? Can we find some crossover in the pattern? It means, for example, that the first wave can present something with Gaussian, the second wave can present maybe with stochastic, and the last can present something different. And what we did here is that we have to answer this question and add something to what exists, and that can be used to predict accurately what will happen in the future. So we take a simple SIR model, as you can see here, where the first part just speak about susceptible, the second part will speak about infection, the last part is going to speak about recovery. But my argument here is that this rate that they put here and they say that it's a constant, I assume that no, it's not a constant. I'm assuming that it's a function of time. And what I will do, I will go to the government, tell the government, please give me some data. If you give me this data, I will be able to build the rate function. And here, you build the rate function, you take it and put it back in your equation. You obtain an equation that looks like this. And if you solve this equation, you are expecting to have the wave showing you how the thing goes up today, how it goes down. So what we did is we took some data from the government and we built this rate function. And of course, here we have several possibilities. We have the first possibility that we can predict the maximum value of infection. We have the minimum value of infection. And from here, we will then be able to predict what will happen in the future. Of course, we give some important property and of that new concept, and this is one of the property we want to make sure that the alpha I, if you add all of them, they should be 1 because they are proportion, and we must also make sure that the fi is equal to this. Now, if we use this using my derivative, we can build a simple numerical method. When we build that simple numerical method, we use that simple numerical method, then we are going to see that our solution now gives something that provides things like wave. According to the alpha, you will be able to have exactly, a specific wave. Here you can say that we have the first wave, second wave, third wave, and the fourth wave. And now we took experimental data. We have data. We use those data now. We want to compare them with our mathematical model. This is the experimental data, and this is the prediction. So we try to compare the data and the prediction using our mathematical model, and we notice that there is not exactly, but it is a good fit compared to the concept that was introduced before. We can do it now. What is important to me here is that when you have then fit data from the place that you took them, you do a specific projection, you should be able to predict that we are going to have a maximum value here and the minimum value here. And this is very important for us. If the maximum value is for the number of infected people, then you will tell the government that we are going to have danger. Here, for example. But if it is here, you will be sure that we are going to have a reduction in terms of number of infection. The same thing you can do it here. This part that is here is very good if you are talking about the recovery, and here is very good when we are talking about infection. So we would like to have the number of infection going down. That's the reason why the government speak about social whatever and make sure that we don't have a contact and to slow down the spread. Now we try to do it with Ebola. We have the prediction here, we have experimental data here, and we try to compare, but here we can see that this thing has some randomness. But we do not actually put randomness here. We use specifically our concept of indicator rate function that we put back in our model. After solving our model, we obtain this. And I remember there are some journalists in Congo that was asking me the question, can you tell us what will happen with Ebola? I told them, with all the measures that we have put in place, we will have few, sometimes we have something that come back. It's not going to be severe again as what happened many years ago. So that is what this function, this is presented to us. So we also did it for DRC. We obtained the comparison between the number of infected, and we did also some prediction to say, you know what, no matter what happened, we are not going to have a very severe problem that we had before. So now, as we were discussing yesterday, the most important thing here is, what are the methods that we are using in Africa to do the tests? Are our model, our method realistic? Can we really be able to tell to the population that today we had only 30,000 people that were infected? And what we did here, we say, no. The mathematical model that has been proposed is only telling us that this is the number of people that are infected today based on what the government is telling us. But we know that there are a lot of people that have not been tested and they have, for example, the infection. So what do? We create a mathematical equation. Here, I wanted to show the problem that we have in Africa. So what we do here is that I will create a mathematical model where the first part, Gi, is the number of people that were detected, and DU, here, this one, IU, is the number of people that was not detected. Of course, I don't know them, but I put them inside the model. After putting them inside the model, I will then say that the total number of the people that are infected in a specific region is equal to the number that was detected and the one that was not detected. So I factor all of them inside a specific equation. You can use, for example, the C model, and if you factor it inside the model, then you use again the indicator rate function that I presented before. You will be able to say, if the government is saying that we have maybe 3,000 people, in the reality we may have 5,000 people. That's what the projection is showing here. And from here, you can see, for example, here that we speak about COVID in South Africa. This is what the government is telling us that we are having here. But the model that I'm having now is telling me that it is possible for us to have maybe 5,000 instead of 3,000. So this is what the indicator rate function is doing. And I took several data from different diseases, and I proved that the indicator rate function, I'm not talking about the R0, I'm not talking about the other type of theory. What I'm talking here is about prediction. It is a powerful method that one can use to predict the future in epidemiology. Can you please go down? Can you help me to go down here, please? Is it finished? Okay. So how many minutes do I have? 5 minutes. So let me put let me stop here. So what is important to me now is that we as young African people, we should not only do research to follow the trends. We should do research to make impact. And we should not be far from our senior one. We should always be closer to them. When I was very young, my friend used to be people with gray hair. And all my friends, they were telling me that you only like old people. But they never understood that when you are near an old person, you acquire knowledge. You acquire wisdom. So I would like, again, as we said yesterday, begging our professor to understand that you are a professor not because you are the only top guy. You are there because God put you there to take care of the next generation. The same thing, I would like to talk to students to tell them that, you know, you can be the CEO of a company, but when you register as a student, you must be humble. I took an example of Jesus Christ himself. Being humble in front of his father, he could say, no, why don't you go yourself? So please, let us be humble, but remember only one thing. You are not going to wait for hand to come from heaven for us to fix the mess that European people put us in. It is time for us to stand up as one person in our continent and fight for our own future, such that the people that will come after us will have a better life than us. Thank you very much.
The only way I can assess this lecture is just to say Sakaili Manaika Oli Maida. It was wonderful. Quite wonderful. Vice Chancellor, sir, you will agree with me that we have gotten to the dangerous bend. May I invite the former Executive Director, National Mathematical Center, and member of Tai Cholani University Governing Council, now Emeritus Professor, Professor Adewale Solarin. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. The guest speaker, the young grow. Mr. Vice Chancellor and our MC, thank you for taking us to the dangerous bend. Yes, for those of you who are new, that was the name they used to call me in the 80s when I was lecturing at the Maths 101, 101. It's my pleasure to be here. Allow me to stand on the existing protocol. I want to thank the guest lecturer again for the wonderful lecture. I've learned a lot of things. And after this lecture, I felt like I should enroll for a PhD again. There's a lot of, one of the things I want to bring out from this message is the fact that it's very clear for those who listened to my inaugural lecture. That was 1999. I actually emphasized this fact about the fact of Africa being the seat of mathematics. And it's important that we should have a course on history of mathematics from the perspective of the African. In 1986, when I was attending the International Congress of Mathematicians in Berkeley, then I've just defended my PhD thesis, and I made some presentation at the NIH, National Institute of Health in Bethesda, in Maryland. And everybody wanted to, the way Americans, the way they think, the way they work is they want to link everything to America. That year, that was the year somebody just solved one long existing problem. And Americans, because it was based in an institute in the US, wanted to just claim that that problem was solved by Americans. And this guy was from the Eastern Europe. So everybody was like, after my presentation, they wanted to know who supervised me, who supervised my master's. And then I got all my degree in Africa, in Nigeria, at Ife. So they couldn't even link, and even my supervisor is Indian, so they could not link. So everybody was like, how is it possible? And the point which he made that I'm emphasizing is that the world is waiting for Africa. This is the plain truth. Unfortunately, we don't have the kind of government that will actually wake us up so that we can play that role. The world is waiting for Africa because we saw all the presentation that my brother made, talking about Leibniz and all this. What they're saying is that the European that you know today, the American, the European, they already gotten to their peak because they are descendants of Leibniz, they are descendants of Einstein, so they already know, but they don't know us. They don't know the potential of the Africans, so they cannot talk about my grandfather. Nobody can talk about my grandfather. But for them, We already know what their grandfather did, so they could trace their potential. They know the maximum, so they don't know us. So it's left for us to wake up, to let them know that you have a lot to offer. When sorry, I'll be talking about 19 because I'm in that category. I was on sabbatical to Germany, 1996, sorry. And not these days of internet. So you are communicating, you just send letter, and it takes like 2-3 months before you receive the. So you don't even know who you are dealing with. My very first day, the person that invited Professor Strandberg, I got there and he said, let's go for coffee. I didn't know he was embarrassed that I was black because they didn't know I was black. So he said, let's go for coffee. So we got to the coffee place. He said, Prof, in Nigeria, I was not a professor. I was still a senior lecturer because I was still delaying, the way they do all these go slow kind of things. So he said, Prof, do you know that I don't know that you are black? Well, the things that, my name, Sholarin, incidentally, they have a lot of Eastern European names, like Solarini from Solar. So they had always assumed that I was an Eastern European just working in Africa. So he said he had always thought that I was an Eastern European just working in Africa. That the quality and the quantity of work I've done, and then I was 43 or something like that, 43 or 42. He said even for Germans, that they will be above 50. So now that also has implication. That means it's also doubting whether I actually did the work. So I said, okay, well, no problem. Then eventually, and they had a tradition. Your first 2 weeks, you give a lecture. So I said, Prof, I want to give my lecture, the usual lecture. So what do you want me to talk on? So he selected a topic. Some of the things that I did in my early days, in the 80s, we are talking, this was 1996. So I selected some of those things. I said, okay. And by the time I was going to give the lecture, he said at the beginning, I should tell them the meaning of my name so that they will know it's not an Eastern European name. Because I told him, I said, every Yoruba name has a meaning. So I did that. At the end of the lecture, he phoned another institute that guy is a great guy. When I finished, I was going to extend for another 3 months. He wrote to their government that what I was doing was very important, and they would like to do the extension. Now, you see, what is going to rule the fourth industrial revolution is creative thinking. Creative thinking. That's what's going to rule, because all these things we are talking about now that I retired, I sit on my laptop and my television has the smart television. So on YouTube, I'm learning new things. So virtually everything you can learn, everything is available somewhere. So what are you going to do? The tool that you need now is what? Creative thinking. When I was doing my thesis, I was doing algebra. And I wrote programming, Fortran in those days. I wrote Fortran programs. And everyone was saying, no, this is pure math. Why? But what's happening today? So you have to be creative. I'm rounding up now. Don't worry. I know that I will have only 5 minutes. The future is creative thinking. As a mathematician, we have the greatest advantage because we're always creating. The research we do, we create knowledge. So what's going to rule the next revolution is creative thinking. And we are right at the forefront. So that means you have to start asking those questions. The contents that I have, the tools that I have, how do I use it to create so that you can be advantage position? On that note, I want to thank especially Professor Olalero. I didn't mention at the beginning, he has been in this thing. We were doing it together in the 80s, and they're still keeping it going. And please, I don't know how many years you have left, but still keep going. And as much as possible, you can always count on me to support at least even this one. And I want to thank the VC also, because he gave me face when I called him and said, this thing, you have to. And now we are here. So thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor. I also want to say something publicly now, because our brother said God makes the difference. And I also know he knows that it's Christ that makes the difference in me. That's nothing else. That is just the truth. And I'm saying it publicly. When the issue of the chair in Lagos, the Adeboye chair, you know, I didn't tell you why. Eventually, I said I was no longer interested. I prayed, and God said no. So that's what happened. And you see now, my grandson is now the one occupying it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Professor Sholari. And just about time, the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Ogun State, Professor Babayomi Adelaja Arigbabo. Yes. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir, to the International Conference on Mathematical Sciences and Optimization 2024. We had some keynote address and goodwill messages, and you've just arrived on time to deliver yours, sir. You're welcome, sir. I'll give you 2 minutes, then I call upon you, sir. Okay. So that was Professor Ade. And a former member of Tai Sholari University Governing Council. He is the author of the Dangerous Bend Formulae. Honorable Commissioner, sir, it is my pleasure to invite you to deliver. Okay.
Let me give him some few minutes to to relax before he comes to speak. Professor Sholari mentioned his grandson, who is now the occupier of Dr. Adeboye's chair in University of Lagos. That's Professor T.G. Jayola. Can you stand up so that I welcome? So his first son, Professor Sholari's first son, was the Secretary General of Nigerian Mathematical Society. He handed over recently, Professor Adenira. So Professor Adenira supervised him. So wonderful. Some of my I supervised PhD, about 16 PhD students. Okay. Yes, you open your mouth. Some of them are here, they are professors already. And we are saying this to challenge you, that you work hard. And then at the end of the day, you'll be a happy man. So some of the works I'm supposed to do, they are doing it for me. So once again, we welcome the Honorable Minister. What I said in his absence, because I said a lot of bad things in his absence. And it is good for me to say it in his presence. So what do you think? I'm saying that the mathematics he did is using it very much in his position as the Honorable Commissioner for Education. To the best of my knowledge, he is the only Commissioner for Education who has successfully computerized all the secondary schools in the state, all the data of the students, all the buildings the Ministry of Education has, all the furniture they have, the number of tables, and everything. If somebody doesn't have mathematical mind, he will not even think of that in the first instance. So I want you to rise up and welcome our professor here to our midst, who has taken pain to be here because he's a mathematician. So let's welcome him to come and speak to us.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, you are invited to the podium. I've just agreed that mathematics can solve any problem.
Thank you very much. The Vice Chancellor, Taisho University of Education, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the Bossa, and I think if I'm right, okay, Acting Librarian. Let me recognize it's still the immediate past. I don't think there is any other one. The immediate past, Director General and Chief. Okay, you are now past. Immediate past. Okay. Director General of the National Mathematical Center, Abuja, Professor ART. We have ART as in art. So, Sholari, you're welcome, sir. The last time was during his birthday when we celebrated it in a unique way at the stadium. The Abacus game. I think we had the highest number. We have won, I think. They gave me the report yesterday. Yeah, they gave me the report yesterday that 5,400 students used Abacus. That is actually the highest now. We have beaten the earlier record of the Guinness World Record. We want to give him a clap for that. Well, I recognize the Deputy Director, National Mathematical Center. Yeah, Professor, how did I forget? Oyelami, Oyelami. So, it's been at the National Mathematical Center for maybe almost 25, 30 years now. Yes. I also recognize, I know he's from the Mathematical Center too, isn't it? Yeah? From the Mathematical Center? Was he not at the Mathematical Center before? Yes, Doctor, yes, he was there at the time. I remember in 2012, when we went for, there was a workshop for tertiary institution lecturers to give them some ideas about methodologies of teaching mathematics. Yes, I remember when Professor Ali was Professor Atagana is the #1 mathematician now. in the world or in Africa. So we want to welcome you. Thank you for making us proud. Last year, we were together at the University of Lagos. Yeah, thank you very much for the good, great work you are. University of Free State, yeah, good. South Africa. You're welcome. I decided to reserve the recognition or my recognition of Professor Olaleru, who has been making us very, very proud. Professor Johnson Olaleru, we were together at the University of Lagos. He was a year ahead of me in the mathematics department, but we were in the same class when he was doing his MPhil. We were doing our MSc, and a lot of stories. And what I'm happy about his case is that he has proven that when you remove IM from impossible, what is left is possible. So impossibility, possibility. And I'm so proud of him. He's probably the last of the Romans in the University of Lagos now, but other people are taking over from him. He has replicated himself. He produced the youngest PhD ever in Nigeria. I don't know whether Harold in Africa. I don't know whether Harold is there. Okay, that's him there. And I'm also very proud that he taught my daughter at the University of Lagos. So, thank you very much for the good work you are doing. And thank you. I thank University of Lagos. I want to welcome all of us to this international conference. I'm very proud that we try to ensure that whatever we start, there is continuity. You know, many conferences, you see people, they will start, they will do the first year, and that will be the end. It will be the first and only. Just like some journals, you also have volume 1, number 1, then there will be no one again. So when promotion is around the corner, you start seeing volume 1, number 1, volume 1, number 1, volume 1, number 1. But this conference has actually beaten that particular myth of ensuring that there is continuity. And that's why I've always also supported the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. Ogun State government is supporting this conference, and I'm sure the University of the National University of Education is also supporting. So we want to encourage the association to continue to do this. We are very proud that we have participants not only from Nigeria, we even have from outside Nigeria. And I'm sure our friend from South Africa, I hope they were able to make it. So yeah, I had, because Prof called me and told me about the challenge they had. And we started walking around to see how that problem could be solved. I was also far away somewhere when you called me. So I'm happy to be here. And I'm sure that all those of us that have attended today, particularly postgraduate students, you will learn a lot from this conference. And we never had this type of opportunity. And I think the people that provided us this type of opportunity were people who were senior to us, like Professor Sholari. The National Mathematical Center did a lot. And I think Professor Oyelami is one of those products that came out of the success story of the National Mathematical Center. We were just attending programs at the Mathematical Center, and eventually we have a lot of those people that were attending at that time who you find in important places today. I'm happy to be here. Ordinarily, I should not be here by now, but I promise that no matter what, I will be here. And I was just reasoning that I will meet everybody here. I want to wish you a very wonderful and robust conference. I know a lot of cross-cutting papers will be presented, and people will be able to generate papers for top flyer journals, which actually can change the face of mathematics in all aspects of it. What I want to tell you before going to sit down is because of what Professor Sholari mentioned. You see, even young people, there is need for us to take the study of mathematics very seriously. If you're a postgraduate student, we will not be preaching to the converted. You have already made up your mind that you want to read mathematics, but we want to encourage those who are coming. My son, my first son, you know, I tried, well, I don't normally want to maybe color anybody's mind or force anybody to. I said, okay, but I encouraged him to read mathematics, but no, he decided to, he did communication, they call it telecommunication and information technology from this university. And, you know, they didn't do many mathematics courses. When he now traveled out of this country, and he has a PhD now in machine learning, he called me when he was on his master's. He said, Daddy, do you know how to calculate Euclidean distance? I said, He said, what about differential manifold? Do you know about differential manifold? I said, you know, I told you. Now you have to. He now had to read all those things. He read machine learning, but machine learning I mean, you know, there are areas of machine learning that are highly mathematical. And you see the application of mathematics into a number of areas. In fact, one can say a student should just study mathematics at the maybe undergraduate level, and then you can read any course, even including medicine, because mathematics will prepare you for any field. And for instance, artificial intelligence, machine learning that you're talking about, they will say the requirement to read that course is for you to have a first degree in mathematics or physics or computer, which means with your mathematics, you can go into so many areas. It's not just a matter of being a lecturer in the university. Today, one of the reasons why I said you should do PhD is so that you can come to the university and become a professor maybe about 12 or 13 years after that. Today, he's not in the university. He has PhD quite all right, but he's in industry. In fact, as we speak now, he has changed jobs second time, third time. You know, the mathematics, when he was to defend his PhD, the supervisor said, okay, one of his friends was defending, and that was this problem, we were not able to solve it. It involved inverse function. And he said, when we were trying to solve this problem, we couldn't get answer to it. We even sent a message to Ibrahim's Muslim name is Ibrahim's dad. Then the supervisor said, what is the business of Ibrahim's dad with this? He said, no, the father is a mathematician. I said, oh, you didn't tell us that your father is a mathematician. We would have given you more mathematical aspects to research on. So that is to tell you that, look, things have changed. Not even now that you even have people who are ready to support you, to support your journey, to support your story until you actually achieve. And technology has also made things very easy. So I want to encourage you to put more effort. You have this necessary support, and the sky will not be your limit. It will actually be the beginning. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, former Vice Chancellor, first indigenous Vice Chancellor of Tai Sholai University of Education. We welcome you back to the campus and appreciate your coming. We're on item 12 on the program. May I invite the head of department, Mathematics, Tai Sholai University of Education, in the person of Dr. A.C. Loimi.
Permit me to stand on the existing protocol, sir. Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and brilliant minds gathered here today. It is with a profound sense of duty and purpose that I stand before you as the acting head of the Mathematics Department, TASUD. We are not merely participants in a conference. We are pioneers on a journey named the International Conference on Mathematical Sciences and Optimization, with the team applying mathematics research for the fourth industrial revolution. We stand on the brink of change, ready to transform the world with the power of mathematics. Today, I must take a moment to recognize and appreciate the esteemed dignitaries who grace us with their presence. The Vice Chancellor of TASUD, the Commissioner for Education, a beacon of hope for the future of education in our state. The Director General of the National Mathematical Center, a true champion of mathematical advancement. The President of the Association of Mathematical Sciences and Optimization, whose leadership inspires us to push the boundaries of research and application. And we are proudly honored to have among us the #1 mathematician in the world, a giant in our field, whose achievements inspire us all. To the professors, lecturers, and academic leaders from various departments within our university, I acknowledge you. Your dedication is the heartfelt of our academic community. And our fellow mathematicians from across Africa, particularly those from the University of Lagos and the Federal University of Oyo-Ekiti. Your presence here today is a testament to the spirit of the unity and collaboration that knows no border. Thank you very much. Over the past 3 days, we have engaged in rigorous workshops across 3 vital domains: applied maths, pure maths, statistics, and mathematics education. These sessions have been more than just a transfer of knowledge. They have been a meeting of minds, a fusion of ideas, a forging of paths. We have delved into the depth of mathematical theory, and we have reached for the height of practical applications. We have laid the groundwork for the solution that will drive the 4th industrial revolution. But as we gather here today, I urge each of you to see beyond the equations and theorems. We are more than scholars. We are architects of the future. Our work in mathematics is not just for the advancement of our field. It is for the betterment of humanity. It is for the young minds who look to us for inspiration. It is for the communities that depend on us to solve their most pressing problem. It is for a world that needs innovation, creativity, and the power of mathematics to thrive. Let us not be contented with what we have achieved thus far. Let us push the boundaries of what is possible. Let us not be silenced by doubt and hesitation. Let us speak with the clarity of numbers and the eloquence of logic. Let us network, share our insight, and build bridges across the discipline. Let us apply what we have learned, not just in theory, but in practice. Let us collaborate, innovate, and drive the change we wish to see in the world. In the words of a great leader, we cannot work alone. Today I say to you, we cannot solve alone. We must work together, we must think together, and we must dream together. For it is through our collective effort that we will turn the abstract into concrete, the theoretical into practical, and the possible into the real. In conclusion, I extend my deepest gratitude to the organizers, facilitators, and participants who have made this conference a beacon of hope and a catalyst for change. Your dedication is the light that will guide us into the futures. Let us go forth, inspired and united, to learn, to connect, and to create. Let us be the mathematicians that history will remember as those who did not just solve problems, but those who transformed the world. Thank you, and may this conference be a resounding success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, HOD. Thank you. We're about getting to the close of this program. That is the first part of it. There's a second part which entails a paper presentation. So to give the vote of thanks, it is my privilege to invite the chairman, National Organizing Committee of this conference, Dr. H. Akewe, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, everyone. I'm happy I'm the one doing this First, I would like us to clap for ourselves. Yes, I said so because if you are not here, we cannot organize this conference. All of you, you are important. I appreciate every one of us. Vice Chancellor, sir, we sincerely appreciate you. On behalf of the local organizing committee, both from the University of Lagos and from this university, I would like to sincerely appreciate everyone for finding time to attend this conference. This conference started in 2013. Yes. In that conference, we were less than 100, but the number has increased. Let me tell you another beauty about the conference. We have produced several PhDs from the participants of this conference. And most of us, from attending the series of conference, we have learned a lot. We have graduated from the normal pure mathematics to applications. So we appreciate the organizer, our president, Professor Olaleru. You people may not understand Professor Olaleru very well. I'm the closest to him. Yes, I was his first PhD student. Yes. By the grace of God, in the next 1 month, I'll be a professor. Yeah. We have a lot of us like that. We have a lot of us like that. Yes. Another special thing I will say about him, anyone he produces, he tries to empower. Let me call names. My student is here, Wale. Wale, can you stand up? Professor Olaleru was the first supervisor, and I was the second supervisor, and he's a lecturer from this university. Let me point out another one. Victoria Olisama. Please stand up. Victoria Olisama is the head of department in her department. Let me point out the third one. Hallowed Olaoluwa. Yes. Hallowed Olaoluwa was a copper when we knew him, but today is one of us. Yes. Thank you very much. So I sincerely appreciate us for coming for this conference. So as we progress, please feel free to ask questions and then collaborate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that short vote of thanks, Dr. Akewe. I want to invite the first son of Professor Adewale Sholari, in the person of Professor T.A.J. Jayola, to give us a closing prayer. Grandson, sorry.
Thank you so much, Sir. Please, let's rise upon our feet. In Jesus' name we pray. Our Father and God, we thank you. We bless your name. Blessed be your name in Jesus' name. We are here. We've been here for 5 days of program, 3 days of workshop, and 2 days of conference. 5 is a prime number, 2 is a prime number, 3 is a prime number. We want to believe that you are building us, the prime ones among us. Lord, continue to build us all in Jesus' name. We thank you that you brought us here. We want to believe that you will take us back safely in Jesus' name. We commit all the guests in our midst who will be going back today. Take them back all safely in Jesus' name. We pray that you take AMCO to greater heights in Jesus' name. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Yeah, final. You may be seated, please. Final. We want to take group photograph with the organizers and the management. May I call the others? Management and Professor Olaleru, Professor Tagana, Professor Sholarin, the Professor Prime Mebine, all the profs here. Can we have a group photograph with management and the Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology on the podium here, please? Professor TAJ, please come forward.
Stand, read.
Dr. Akewe, please come forward. Okay. One of the participants forgot her gold bracelet in the kitchen. I'm sure the food was sweet. If you are looking for your bracelet, please come for it.
No problem. Everybody, so, so ya canina,
Someone forgot her bracelet in the kitchen. Is there anybody looking for a hand chain? Alaja, is that for you? Oh.
Right.
She got a thing for that Gucci, that Fendi, that Prada, that bitch, she bitch, roll, baby, go see it, she pick you cool, fantasy, they pay her up their bone. I spit a little G, man, in my game,
Hello.
People you know, me and some of them.
Local organizing committee, get ready. You are next to take photograph with the local organizing committee. Local organizing committee, please get ready to take your group photograph. The participants from South Africa, are you ready? Participants from South Africa. Okay. Yes. Local organizing committee. Local organizing committee, please step forward. Local organizing committee. Let me take a handshake from Namibia. You're welcome. Hello, okay. National Organizing Committee. Are you national? Yeah, okay. Yeah, take it together. Oh. Yeah, thank you. We have successfully concluded the first part of the opening ceremony. And as the management and the Honorable Commissioner of Education take their leave, I will seek your indulgence to remain standing as a mark of honor as they go out. Okay. That's all, sir. You're welcome, sir. Please remain standing while the university management and the Honorable Commissioner for Education take their leave as a mark of honor. The program still continues. There is a second aspect of which is the plenary session. You're welcome, sirs. You may be seated.